How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. It's Fun Friday here on the show, and I barely made it. But, man, I am here. And we got a lot to get into here today. I'm flying solo. That's right, just me. And so a lot of news I'll get into on my own, including a big weekend. We got SmackDown coming up tonight. We got New Japan Resurgence coming up tonight. WWE Backlash is tomorrow. And we got a UFC pay-per-view tomorrow, but I don't know if I'll be talking about that one. But we got all of that, and we had a Collision, which instead of taking place Saturday, took place last night, which really threw me for a loop because I was going to start watching Impact on Thursday nights, and now Collision got in the way. But I watched Collision. The report is on the front page of WrestlingObserver.com if you want to read my thoughts now. Or you can wait, because later on in the show, I'll give my full Collision recap. And we have a lot of stuff announced for Beach Break, Wednesday, May 14th. And I'm laughing because there's something I can't talk about here on this show, but I can talk about it on other shows because there's words I cannot say here on this program. But Ricochet's facing Zach Gowen. Yeah, Zach Gowen. And he has wrestled a singles match in the past year. But I can't tell you who he wrestled because we would be kicked off Sports Byline. It was for the Juggalos. But anyway, we'll talk about that as well as all of the other topics, the TKO financials and the WWE AAA relationship and ratings. And yes, after the break, I'm going to talk about something a lot of people have been discussing of late. And so we will get to that here in a moment. 425-780-7566 is the text message line. That is 425-780-7566. F4WOnline@gmail.com. F4W Online Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. $10 cameos at Bryan Alvarez, X and Blue Sky. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Okay, can everyone hear it?
Yeah.
There's a mystery bell at Granny's house. She can't hear it. Take off your headphones for a second.
I had them on wrong anyway.
Okay.
I can't get them on right. What?
Take them off and listen.
You have in your elbow?
Is the fan on a computer?
Nothing.
All right. Well, this is going to be an exciting show.
Gonna have bells ringing through the whole thing, and it's every week. It's got to be me.
Do you have a neighbor that's an ice cream man
No,
practicing out there?
I got a neighbor that smokes marijuana.
I'm sure you do. I guess
Whatever that noise is, I mean, it's still going.
Yeah, it's not going to stop, dude.
Brian, do you want me to get off here and go see if open the door and see if there's anything out there?
Do you think something's out the front door?
Is he ringing the bell the entire time?
No, Granny, you don't.
Let me in! Let me in!
It's fine. It's fine.
If it's death, don't open the door.
Thank you, Craig. This person thinks it's a stove timer.
Have you burned the roast?
No, I don't have a stove. You want me to just get off here?
No. We're going to barrel through it.
I'd love it.
You're not even doing anything. Granny, Nick says that you've got an old-fashioned analog alarm clock in Terry's bedroom.
I don't know. I got a new alarm clock, battery operated. Is that what she meant?
Well, whatever it is, it's going haywire right now.
Oh, it might be my alarm.
Do you think?
But it's way back in the bedroom.
Don't worry about it right now. But when the show's over, you might want to go...
That's what it is.
Okay.
Solve the mystery.
Is there a reason you didn't turn it off when it started ringing?
Well, I wasn't in there. I didn't.
Duh.
I took a nap. I took a nap and set the alarm. I thought I shut it off, but I probably didn't.
No.
You probably didn't.
That's like
I would say with a good deal of certainty that you didn't turn it off.
Brian. That's life around here.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I do the show with Dave, too.
Say,
Hear all sorts of things in the background.
did I do that? You know,
Yeah, you did do that.
or I thought I did that, but I didn't.
In there.
I wake up and I see lights on, and I say, I didn't turn those lights on. What's going on?
Maybe the place is haunted.
Could be.
Okay.
It's my brain that's haunted.
Well, I hope not. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Look at the chat during the break, and everyone's talking about Mike Sempervive and how he said at the end of his solo show yesterday that this might be his last show. And I certainly hope it is not his last show. But I guess he said that he had another opportunity come up, which is in fact what happened. I don't know how much he explained, but he had another opportunity come up, a very nice opportunity that happens to be an opportunity that occurs during this program. And so he cannot do the show regularly anymore. And so hopefully he can pop in here and there. I would prefer regularly, but who knows? I enjoy doing the shows with Mike. There's a lot of fun to be had with old Sempervive. So I'm not planning on doing like a replacement in case the day comes and he returns. But we will have more Filthy and more Lance Storm as well. Filthy will be doing a few shows a week, and Lance will normally be doing a couple of shows a week. Today is an exception because he is out of town, and there will be a lot of Fridays where he may not be available. But when he is available, he'll also be helping with Fun Friday. And we can do live Q&As with Lance and all sorts of such. I'll probably still say Wrestling Observer Live, Bryan Alvarez and Mike Sempervive here. Old habits die hard, but hopefully he'll be back here and there to do shows, so that we can talk about things like New Japan Resurgence, and he could, in fact, confirm that days ago when I discussed this with Dave, I was right. It is the world-class Wrecking Crew. Yeah, they changed their names. I was violently shut down by Dave, but he was wrong. And that brings me to another thing. So, we were doing Observer Radio the other day, and we were talking about the Dynamite show, and we were talking about the opening segment with Will Ospreay. And Dave brought up Will Ospreay's outfit, and he got into the big discussion about how Will Ospreay maybe should, I can't remember what he said, but it was essentially dress more like a star. And then this became a big thing. This became a big thing over the last couple of days, and Will Ospreay even tweeted about it. Don Callis tweeted about it, and I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days because people got very passionate about this. And I was thinking about it because I made a similar comment about Mark Davis and Mark Davis's street clothes that he would wear out on Dynamite. I got accused of bullying Mark Davis, which is entertaining to me. But I got thinking about it, and here's my take on this, okay? Because when Dave brought it up regarding Will Ospreay, I didn't even think about it. I was like, was he really dressed that poorly? It didn't even occur to me. And I think the thing is this. As Tony Schiavone once said, I believe it was Tony Schiavone, it's really quite simple. I think that at the end of the day, these professional wrestlers are professional wrestlers. They're supposed to be stars. Fans, whatever you want to say about how, I don't care, I just like the wrestling and this and that. Fans want to see stars wrestling. And I think that if you are a professional wrestler, listen carefully to me. I think that if you are a professional wrestler, it is important that you look like a star. Now, what does that mean? What it means is, I don't like the old WWE, you gotta pass the airport test, guy. You know, Vince's whole deal, he had to like turn heads when you walk through the airport. I don't buy that because like you gotta walk through the airport, okay? But if you're on national television, if you're on a large streaming service, whatever, I think that if you are a performer on a television show, it was Mike Tenay, by the way, that said it's really quite simple. If you're a performer on a television show, I think that when you are performing on that television show, I don't care about the airport, when you're performing on that television show, I think it is important that you attempt to look like a star. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to wear a suit, okay? This keeps being brought up. Like people, you know, WWE for a while was like everybody had to show up in a suit. And, you know, Undertaker, he was not showing up in a suit. And he had tenure, so he didn't. But, you know, there was a time when Vince wanted that. And I think the suit thing, and Dave mentioned this, you know, like Ric Flair used to always wear a suit. And the old NWA champions used to wear suits. And I think that there's something to the suit thing in the sense that, you know, in the 80s, when Ric Flair was the NWA world champion and the top guy, it was the 80s, dude. It was all about money, fame, you know, business. And in the 80s, rich business people, you know, they wore their Rolex watches and they wore their suits and they flew in their jets and the whole shebang. So in the 80s, as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, that look worked for Ric Flair. Okay? Now in today's world, famous people don't necessarily dress like that, especially since COVID. You know, the what you wear to the office is very different now than what it was in the 80s. And, you know, you see, you know, this famous person caught on TMZ, they're not walking around in their suit, okay? But I do think that in some way you need to look like a star. The Hurt Business, the Hurt Syndicate, they all wear suits, okay? But they're the Hurt Syndicate because they can't be called the Hurt Business. But they say our business is hurting people. Their gimmick is they're businessmen. They wear business suits. The thing is, I don't care necessarily what you wear, but in some way, you need to look like somebody special. There's a million ways to do that, okay? Perhaps you are gigantic, okay? Does Omos really need to wear a suit to stick out? Of course not. He sticks out because he looks like Omos. He's 10 feet tall. If you're, you know, big jacked up dude, do you necessarily... What do you have about you that is going to turn heads, that is going to make you look like somebody special? It could be your physique. It could be your hairdo. It could be your wrestling gear. It could be something that has nothing to do with your actual look, but like when you speak, you start talking and people are like, whoa, this is somebody special. There has to be something about you where you stick out beyond an average person on the street. I don't care what it is. You could mention anybody. You could mention any of the stars in wrestling. Steve Austin. Oh, well, he wore jean shorts. Yeah, he was a giant dude. He was a big, thick, giant dude. He wore T-shirts and you know, jean shorts or whatever, but he also had the shaved head. He had the goatee, and as soon as he opened his mouth, you knew that guy's something special. Bret Hart. His gimmick was he's a wrestler. He almost never wore street clothes. He wore his wrestling tights all the time, put a leather jacket over it. He also had long hair, wore the sunglasses. Shawn Michaels, you know, his old gimmick in the 90s was he was the sexy boy. He was an extremely good-looking guy. He had long hair, the mullet, the curly hair, whatever. Everybody needs something about them. What can you find about yourself that, like, sticks out? I won't mention any names, but if you're not a very good promo, and you don't have a very good physique, and you don't have a very good whatever, well, maybe you need to wear a suit. You got to find something where when you show up on TV, there's something about you that makes you stand out from somebody in the crowd. Not telling anybody on steroids, not telling anybody to do that. I'm just saying, what can you do as a performer? The thing with Will Ospreay to me is, his gimmick is he's a working class bloke. And it's not like he's out there dressed like a slob. He's got a good physique. You know, he's a good-looking guy. He's got an accent, which makes him stand out from the other wrestlers in the U.S., and he is an incredibly charismatic, friendly guy. So he has multiple things. That's not even counting when the bell rings. He has multiple things that make him stand out. So I don't look at what he's wearing and go, I don't see a star in that guy. I see a star in other ways. How can you be a star? That's the question. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Well, we reviewed SmackDown yesterday, Tom, and you don't even get SmackDown. You're very, just, you know how you are.
Fine. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever.
That's your impression of me?
Yeah, that's my impression of you.
Wow.
So what are we, at least, I hope you at least watch a SmackDown main event.
I watched the entire show.
Okay, because there's a lot of people that still like your review, Tom.
I went on the board, and I saw like 2 people.
Yeah, do you go on Twitter?
Yeah, I do go on Twitter,
You read my emails?
I do go on
the
Twitter.
Text messages? I mean...
Do you go on Twitter? Because if you do,
unfortunately, yes.
You would have seen one of the greatest moments in world history.
In world history, really.
World history. Frank Tate walked away the victor of the fight, but he walked away an even bigger winner when it comes to life. This man completed what I would say is the best high five, the best dap up in the history of the galaxy. This man had his dog. And when I say dog,
barely a dog.
I mean D-O-G and D-A-W-G. This was a dog, baby. The dog was so proud. You can see just the elation in that dog's face. He threw that paw up. He let it hang for a few moments, and then he brought it down for the dap.
Tom's not even doing this justice. Everyone has seen a dog,
Listen.
like you put your hand out and the dog like puts his paw up to shake hands. This freaking dog goes, ah, hapa! Like, what? That was more than a high five. I don't even know what you would even term that. He dunked. He dunked that man.
30 million views on this clip. And that is about 1/10 of what it should have. So if you haven't seen it, you deserve it. Treat yourself. Go to my Twitter. Watch Frank Tate high five his dog.
No, he did not high five his dog.
The dog high fived
His dog high fived him. Yes. He just wanted like a, just boom. And this dog was like, no way, brother. You knock that man out. I'm going to give you a big time dunking high five from way up high. You go high five, up high, down low, too slow. This was an up high. Guy should have pulled his hand away.
It's the best thing you've ever seen.
Man, too slow, Joe. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not going to lie. I liked it. Hey, I got more. I miss old Sempervive there going, huh? Okay, what? So listen, a couple names brought up here in the chat. This person goes, I've never, Pac never wears his street clothes. You're right. He never wears. Have you ever seen Pac in his street clothes? So Pac's not a particularly tall fella. I mean, he may even be my height. And if you've ever seen like a video or a shoot interview or whatever, he ties his hair back. He has these glasses, and if he covered up his physique, you would never look twice on the street. You wouldn't even notice this guy. Nothing. But when it's time to wrestle, he puts on his gear. He's exploding everywhere because he's gigantic, he puts his hair down over his face, wet, and he looks like somebody, and that's it. And so he never walks around on television looking like his normal Clark Kent self. He only walks around looking like Superman. And, this person says, The Rock. You remember that period where we just ran around in tracksuits all the time? And Roman Reigns, he almost always just wears his tracksuit or whatever. And, the thing is, it's The Rock and Roman Reigns. How many people here look like The Rock? Anybody? Okay. How many of you look like Roman Reigns? None of you? All right. Well, when you look like The Rock and Roman Reigns, I mean, you could wear like a potato sack, and people are still going to look at you and go, that person's somebody. So if you don't look like somebody, then, when the TV show starts, you need to find a way to look like somebody during that show. If you already look like somebody, your job's easy. It's much easier. But, I think that's the deal. I don't want to go any further. But yeah. Person says he looks just like The Rock. Huh. So I once saw a dude, this person says, full LA Park outfit, driving south on I-81, Pennsylvania, one of those big trikes. He wanted to turn around. The LA Park one's another one. It's like, I don't know. I mean, that guy's got his outfit on. He looks like somebody. And I was always told there's a reason that guy's never going to lose his mask. Because without that, he's not LA Park anymore. He's Adolfo Tapia, I believe was his name. All right, a couple of news notes. We'll get into Collision here in a moment. We have Resurgence tonight, as noted, New Japan, and also SmackDown. SmackDown's got John Cena appearing on the show. We have got Jade Cargill, Nia Jax in a number 1 contenders match. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight and Damian Priest. And then Resurgence is also tonight, not Saturday. I had a few people that were thinking about going till they found out it was tonight. And we have Hiroki Goto versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP title. Mercedes defends a strong women's title against Azumi and Mina Shirakawa in a 3-way. We have Takeshita versus El Phantasmo, never openweight title match. Ishii will defend the strong openweight title against Drilla Maloney. We have the Young Bucks, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. It is confirmed the Good Brothers are back. They will be facing Gabe Kidd, David Finlay, Clark Connors, and Ghetto. We have Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson, the world-class Wrecking Crew. I knew that guy was world-class when he almost ate that whole pizza in Las Vegas. Apparently, Tom and Royce have found a few other places that have the all-you-can-eat gimmick. So we may have to try and document another one. Templario and TJP are their opponents. Fred Rosser will face Matt Vandegrift, and Alan Breeze will be facing CJ Tino. And then tomorrow, we have got the WWE Backlash pay-per-view with John Cena, Randy Orton for the undisputed title. Gunther will be facing Pat McAfee. We got Lyra Valkyria against Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental title, which honestly should be a title change. I actually could see Lyra winning this match and then Becky winning the title in their next meeting. But I think we're just going to have a title change here. I think that it's important at some point to have a big star hold one of the women's secondary titles. Dominic versus Penta for the Intercontinental title. And Jacob Fatu versus Drew, LA Knight, and Damian Priest in a 4-way for the U.S. title. So that's this coming weekend. We had some notes from the Thursday TKO financial report. This is looking at Q1 for WWE, UFC, etc. TKO revenues, $1.269 billion, 4% year-over-year increase. And they talked about WWE finishing the first quarter $391.5 million. $391.5 million. Do you guys realize in the absolute peak of like the WWE boom period popularity from 1997 or 8 through 2001, Their 2001, how much they made in 2001 over the entire year was $456 million. That's for the whole year of 2001, when they were just on fire, although that was the beginning of the end. This year, $391.5 million for the quarter. So they're going to make they'll make 3 times this year what they made in their biggest year ever at the end of the boom period. They had $251.6 million in media rights, production, and content, powered by the, quote, timing of the previously disclosed format expansion of SmackDown, which is when they went to 3 hours, which thankfully is ending soon. 76 million live events, up from 50 million. And site fees were down as they had no international events. And partnerships and marketing, $25 million. Consumer products and licensing, $38 million, up from 31.6. Increases in video game and collectible revenue. They talked about a couple of other things. Legal costs, including certain litigation matters, antitrust lawsuits for UFC and WWE, and matters where Mr. McMahon has agreed to make future payments to certain counterparties personally. And then, of course, there were some notes on WWE and AAA. Although this was from the Spanish-language publication Lex Latin. So when the WWE AAA sale, it's basically TKO, the way it's going to actually work is that WWE and TKO, basically TKO, they will own 51% of AAA, and Mexican sports and entertainment company Philip will own the remaining 49%. So WWE will have controlling interest, but they are not buying it flat out. And part of that might be, there might be, I'm not saying this as like a fact because I don't know, but my presumption is that this might be something where legally, maybe they couldn't have purchased the entire AAA promotion so soon after acquiring WWE. There might have been some sort of, there has to be an X amount of time between purchasing WWE and purchasing another sports entertainment promotion or whatever. So it's possible that down the road, WWE will buy out Philip if they're able to. But right now, they're owning 51%. Deal had a strong intellectual property component, as the main value of the acquired company is its intangible assets, trademarks, copyrights, exclusive use rights, among others. The transition required an audit of these assets to verify their specific characteristics, validity, and legal status, as well as a review of the licenses and other contracts entered into regarding them. And it said the firm that represented Philip, several of these sellers' IP assets were subject to litigation, necessitating an analysis of potential liabilities and risks among the litigation. So, the IP due diligence also included structuring and documentation of AAA's valuable portfolio of characters, brands, and licensing agreements. WWE really needed a psycho clown, among others. No other details provided as to the audit and the potential litigation regarding AAA's IPs. And we still don't know how much was paid for the acquisition of AAA. Couple of ratings notes. NXT on Tuesday, 652,000 viewers, down slightly from the week before. The demo, 0.14, slightly down from the week before. They had an NBA playoff game, which did a 1.02 in 18-49, and 3.4 million viewers, as well as an NHL playoff game that did a 0.42 in the demo and 1.3 million. So overall, not a bad number for NXT. Dynamite did exactly the same, 629,000 and a 0.16. They had a playoff game as well, a NHL playoff game. The NBA game, 3 million viewers and a 1 in the demo. NHL, 743 and a 0.24 in the demo. So also a good number considering the competition. And this week, if you Well, if you listen to the Bryan and Vinny show, because I didn't get to talk about it yesterday, I thought both Dynamite and NXT were really good shows. I actually thought that NXT was slightly better. It was the best NXT in, like, forever. And I also thought that the Thursday Collision was much better than recent Collisions. It actually felt like a show that, they built some stuff up, had a lot of nice video packages, had some good wrestling. It felt more important than your average Collision. So we're going to talk about that show after the break. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Granny, what have you got today?
Okay, everybody be quiet, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Google, tell us a joke.
What's the most musical part of a turkey? The drumsticks.
Ba-da-cha.
Hey, Google, you suck.
Well, I am still learning. What should we fix?
The guilt in the response.
Hey, Google, that's enough. Hey, Google.
Shut your hole.
Hey, Google.
Hi there, I'm listening.
Oh,
How
jeez.
can I help today?
Hey, Google. Shut up.
How can I be of service?
No, that won't quit.
God.
Hey, Google. No more. Stop.
This is how the war with the robots begins.
Name the hip hop group that asked the question, are you down with OPP in 1992?
Granny, I will pay you $100 to read that again, please.
Yeah, can you read more?
Name the hip hop group that asked the question, are you down with O.P. P. in 1992?
You somehow made it better. Oh, period. P,
Stop the show
period.
now. We've peaked.
P, period.
Please send those edits to Brian's email.
Are you down with O.P. P. On the show The Big Bang Theory, Leonard and Sheldon are both physicists. What is that? At what?
What just happened right there?
Physicists?
Yes.
Physicists?
Yes.
Yeah. I lost my track.
You lost your crack.
You were at Sisyphus.
In what city was Nipar
Brooks.
Shakur shot and killed?
Excuse me, say that again.
In what city was Tupac?
Two-pack. Vegas.
Vegas Strip.
Yep.
Join us!
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a trip to the Vegas Strip, by
Yeah.
the way.
You can get shot, too.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Google, take a nap. Hey, Google, wake up. Hey, Google, are you awake?
Here's a YouTube music station called Are You Awake?
Hey, Google, stop!
There we go. God, I'm a professional. There's always something that comes up during the break, and then you're trying to do it, and then the music starts to play, and you know how it goes. Should mention before we get to Collision. Old Javon Evans yesterday. Oh, my God. Referred to Tony Khan as a crackhead, going back and forth with Ricochet. He said, you learned from HBK when I was 12 and became a multiple-time champion. Now you're wrestling in front of 2,000 people every week for a crackhead. Talk about an upgrade, am I right? Sounds like Mr. Khan isn't giving you enough attention, so you had to come for a successful youngin'. You're giving me the most views on my post. I'm finally helping you get the most attention you've ever had in your career. All love. So anyway, this didn't go over well, actually, with really anybody, because, I was told that WWE kind of contacted him, and then it vanished off Twitter. So I think there's a lesson here that we all know. Shall we repeat it? Stay off Twitter/X. Or at least, the thing with Twitter is, I use Twitter and X. And I think the thing with X is, and all social media, there's nothing wrong with it inherently. You are the one who causes the problem. Not necessarily you that I'm speaking to right now, but people. You don't have to tweet everything that pops into your brain. You don't have to. You can only tweet certain things, or you can never tweet at all. But the issue is not X. The issue is not Facebook. The issue is not Instagram. The issue is not any of the platforms. The issue is the people that use the platforms to tell the world every stupid thing that goes into their head. You don't have to do that. So just stop, and then everything will be all right. It's like, I got a Blue Sky account. I don't go on it all that much, just because the vast majority of the people that are following me are on X. But, when Blue Sky started, there was barely anybody there. And, everybody was like, oh, it's much better than X. And, well, first off, it's because there was nobody there. And then the few people that were there went there because they hated X. And at the beginning, like, everybody was kind of like, sort of policing it a little bit. Like, don't be an idiot here. You can be an idiot there, but don't be an idiot here. And, for a while, it was fun to go on. I still enjoy going on it. I tweet every now and then. But the reality is, over the last few months, and I don't tweet much at all, it slowly started to creep into Blue Sky now. And the fact is that the more people that get on Blue Sky, the more it's going to suck. It's just a fact of the matter. Because people can't help themselves but to get on Blue Sky and type out every stupid thing that comes into their mind. And then it makes the whole thing suck. So, anyway. I like Collision. I thought it was a good show. And, there were a lot of things, and I get this every now and then, oh, Brian hates AEW, NIAW. I'm not NIAW at all. I like AEW a lot. But there are a lot of things that, I watch this show and I'm like, I wish they would fix this. I wish they would fix that. And they're not big things. That's what irritates me, is they're little things. Not hard to fix, okay? And I liked this show because, they had a lot of things that I think they needed. And one of them is video packages. Everyone's like, oh, they've had video packages, blah, blah, blah. No, here's the thing. They had recaps of things that happened on Wednesday. They had video packages hyping up the match that was coming next. They had recaps of things that had happened earlier. This one guy was like, they've done this forever. What's different? It's very different if you pay attention. Like, they're highlighting different things, or highlighting things that are important that we should remember from things we've seen and building up things that we are about to see. And there were a lot of them on this show. I did not find them to be intrusive at all, and I thought it made for a much better show, especially because, you know what? It's Collision on a Thursday. It's a different night at a different time, and maybe someone tunes in that doesn't normally watch the show. And it shouldn't be a closed-door cult that no one else is allowed to enter. It should be inviting to everybody. And I also very much liked we'd been talking for a long time. Why are they running these giant buildings and nobody's there? Like, run smaller buildings. And they have begun running smaller buildings. And what I really like about the smaller buildings is, when you're a promoter, it's sort of an ego thing. I want to run the big building in the city. I don't want to run a little building. I want to run the big building. Well, that's all fine and good for your ego, the building you run. And, if you're someone who is working the show or going to the show, I mean, you can certainly see the difference between a big building and a little building. But on TV, like, every big building looks the same. But you know what doesn't look the same is a lot of these small buildings. These theaters, and, I mean, the one that they ran in Detroit, that was a really cool building on Wednesday and Thursday. And I don't care how many people are in the building. Does it look cool on TV? And is the crowd hot? Yeah. So it kind of made it seem like a pretty cool deal. So I liked it. Now, if I did have one complaint about the show, it is they opened up with Toni Storm, who was good. She did a promo challenging for another 4-way eliminator next week. And then we had, Paragon doing a promo backstage, and they were challenged by the Grizzled Young Vets, which I thought was going to lead to a match on this show, but it did not. And then the opener was Ricochet and Angelico. And I thought this was a big mistake because I'm a big fan of Angelico. And, Ricochet is great. But this was the opening match on a show that's already considered a B show on a different time and on a different day. And I thought you should have opened up with something way bigger than this. But they did. And, not a ton of crowd heat or anything. They liked Angelico enough. There were comedy spots. And finally, Ricochet won. The match was fine, but I just would not have positioned this here, especially in an unfamiliar day and time. But then Ricochet cuts a promo afterwards, and he points out Zach Gowen in the crowd. One-legged Zach Gowen from way back in the day in WWE. And he makes fun of Zach, and he ends up making fun of him in front of his kids. And all of security runs down. Ricochet starts beating him up. He starts cutting the hair of one of the security guys. Zach Gowen gets in the ring, takes the scissors. Ricochet kicked his leg. And, dude, he kicked him on the side of the leg. And Zach Gowen's his one leg. And it buckled in. I thought, oh, my God, if he just ruined his other leg. And then he yanks his prosthetic leg off. Nobody comes to help poor Zach Gowen. And he leaves. And I thought, my God, are they really going to do Zach Gowen? And sure enough, this coming Wednesday, it is Ricochet versus Zach Gowen, who to this day still does wrestle occasionally. So it's going to happen. We had our party match, Outrunners and AR Fox and Bandito versus the Don Callis family. Match was awesome. Absolutely great match. And just simple, fun, dives, baby faces, heels, comebacks, the whole shebang. And then Roppongi Vice hit the Jackal Driver, named after Don Callis' WWF gimmick. Got the pin. It ruled. We had Moxley cutting a promo about the match with Joe. And good promo. It was outside. Anthony Bowens versus Lee Johnson, which honestly did not have a lot of heat. Just kind of a basic match. To be fair, another thing that was driving me nuts is all these 50-50 matches. They did not do that here. Anthony Bowens dominated and pinned Lee Johnson. This was not 50-50. Anthony Bowens is the guy they're trying to make a star, and he decisively won this match. And then afterwards, he did his promo, and it's just his saying his catchphrase over and over, and it didn't get much of a reaction. And so he said, you know what? I'm feeling good tonight. Put those fingers up, Billy, and they did the scissor me, and the place went wild. If it works, it works. Keep it up. Then we had something that absolutely died a death. An in-ring promo with the Gates of Agony. Absolutely no heat whatsoever. They call out the Learning Tree for I guess, a match, but there was no match. They just had a brawl around ringside. Again, absolutely no heat, and then it was over. So this one did not work. Had a video package for Anna Jay, Megan Bain on Beach Break Collision next week. That was nice. Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale had a very good match. Crowd was super into it. They pummeled each other. And the finish saw the Death Riders come through the crowd. Marina hit the ring, choked out Willow. Statlander, who allegedly did not know what happened, Tombstone Willow got the pin. And this plays into the storyline that Willow's trying to also take out the Death Riders. We had a announcement Sky Blue is back with a video package. Then we had a recap of Hangman and Ospreay on Dynamite. Excellent. Then we had Takeshita and Josh Alexander versus the Dark Order. And again, they didn't go 50-50. One team are stars. The other team has not had a TV match since November. They're just working Ring of Honor. And Dark Order had exactly one spot the entire match, and they were killed and murdered. And Takeshita and Alexander face Hangman and Ospreay on Wednesday. Very good. We had a recap of the MJF MVP Hurt Syndicate storyline, which will be paid off on Wednesday. Then we had Mike Bailey and Dralistico. Dralistico is hit and miss. Some of his stuff looks great. Sometimes he's out there and he just botches one thing after another. These guys worked great together. They had an awesome match. Place is going nuts for this match. And finally, Mike Bailey hits a spin kick, gets the pin, and this was great. And then Roosh came out, challenged Speedball, and actually got the crowd chanting Roosh for him. So they're doing something with Roosh here finally. And then we had the announcement that, there'd been a lot of talk they should do something for Steve McMichael. Oh, man, they're doing something all right. Next week on, I believe, Collision, will be a tribute to Steve Mongo McMichael, and Ric Flair will be a part of it. And I know a lot of people are down on Ric Flair lately. Don't like Ric Flair. But Ric Flair and Steve McMichael were very, very close. They were very good friends. And Steve McMichael passed away. And I don't have any problem with Ric Flair being part of a tribute to Steve McMichael. His family's going to be there, and I think it's going to be really nice. And then the main event was Dax and Danny Garcia, which was a very good match. And it did not have a finish, but it was very clever because even though it didn't have a finish, what they did, the fans saw as something really important. So they're doing this match. They brawl into the crowd. Dax ends up knocking off Nigel's headset. And on Wednesday, he threatened Nigel. He's upset with Nigel and Tony. And so Nigel gets face-to-face with him. And he goes, Dax, I'm not a wrestler anymore. I'm retired. Like your hair did back in. And he gets whacked. He gets shoved by Dax. And like Tony's furious. But I was like, that guy deserved it. He made a bald joke as he's chewing this guy out. So Nigel's furious, and the fans are chanting for him. So Stokely takes the ref. Nigel hits the ring. Cash tries to make the save. Nigel lays him out. Daddy Magic hits the ring. And there's this huge schmoz. And because Nigel was involved, nobody cared there was no finish. And we got a big brawl, and it looks like they're setting up a 6-person. Is Stokely going to be on that team? I guess we'll find out. Very good show. Far more relevant and newsworthy than many collisions. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Chat GPT, SmackDown review starring Filthy Tom and Bryan Alvarez.
Welcome back, you miserable wretches, to another disaster of an episode of Figure 4 Daily, the only show on the internet that's guaranteed to make your brain rot faster than watching one of these SmackDown episodes. I'm your host, Filthy Tom Waller, joined by the man who somehow manages to be more useless than a rubber knife in a prison fight, Bryan Alvarez. What's up, Bryan?
Let's not pretend you're the shining star of this operation. You're like a broken pencil. Pointless. And I don't even know I'm still here with you. Anyway, let's get to this train wreck of a SmackDown. Spoiler alert, if you were expecting a wrestling show, you've come to the wrong place. It was like watching someone fall asleep in real time.
You should know all about falling asleep, Bryan, since you've been half dead for years now. If enthusiasm was an Olympic sport, you would get a participation medal for showing up, but still lose.
I could tell the crowd was hyped for Drew, and Nakamura's music is always a banger, but it was just nothing. It's like watching a 5-minute commercial for a product you don't even want to buy.
And I bet the only thing that was more uninspiring than this match was your entire existence. Let's move on before I fall asleep right here on this microphone.
Tom, you think because you're a former fighter, that makes you a wrestling expert? You'd probably lose in a match with a traffic cone. Look, Jade's a star, but Liv Morgan, She's the human version of a please wait screen.
Liv Morgan is about as useful as a sandbag at a swimming pool party, who's like trying to make a turkey sandwich with no bread.
It's like the crowd went from yay to who's got the remote. Can we change the channel?
Liv Morgan's biggest move is making the audience wish for better things. She's like the human version of a wet sock. Nobody wants it.
I get it, Tom. You don't like fun. You don't like energy. You don't like anything that's not just sitting on your couch in your pajamas complaining.
More of the same.
Oh, we're back to more of the same, huh? Just like your wrestling career. More of the same, but somehow still a disaster.
Well, that's it, folks. SmackDown 2025 was more like SmackDown 2005. Same old stuff, same old disappointments. Join us next time when we tear apart something else for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, next time, Tom, maybe we'll actually have some real wrestling to talk about instead of whatever disaster this was. Until then, just remember, don't listen to Tom and don't watch SmackDown unless you hate yourself.
Whatever. It's your funeral.
What? I've never been so embarrassed doing this show as I was for the last 5 minutes. God. Want to end the show today with condolences to the friends and family of Kevin Deers, who had worked for Defy Wrestling forever and ever. And I didn't really know him very well, but I had definitely met him at Defy shows. And everybody talked about what a super nice guy he was. He was always nice to me. And very sad to hear of his passing. So condolences to all the friends and family of Kevin. He worked for a local radio station here as well, and just a very sad story. And tonight, Vinny and I and Sean are heading to a SOS Pro Wrestling show, which is in Edison Square, Tacoma. So if you're in the Tacoma area, you might want to head out there tonight, Friday, May 9th at 8 p.m., Edison Square in Tacoma. And I'm sure a lot of people on that show worked with and knew Kevin, and so it'd be cool to go out there and support them tonight. That's the SOS. Our flag means death. Tonight, Friday, May 9th at 8 p.m. That was named, obviously, before all of this happened. Edison Square, Tacoma, and live on IWTV. You can check it out. And I'm looking at one of the posters here. Dante Smith tonight has challenged Mojo for the first time ever in SOS Wrestling to a civilized discussion. That's tonight at SOS Wrestling. Live on IWTV, and you can grab your tickets. If there are any available, they sell out most of the time. Edison Square, Tacoma, SOS Wrestling. All the best to Kevin, friends, and family, and everybody in the local wrestling scene. So we got to wrap it up for today. I want to thank everybody for listening. I'll be back with multiple shows tomorrow. Brian and Vinny and Craig talking Backlash and a show with Dave, who I believe is in Hawaii right now, but he'll still be on the show. So a lot to get into tomorrow and over the weekend. And that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.